Well, I don't know if you can hear in the background. Spring is sprung, so all my neighbors are doing the most yard work they can. So chainsaws and wood chippers and lawnmowers and all kinds of stuff back there. But as you can see on the bench here is this Necchi 544. This is a front load machine. I have the bobbin case out. It's a unique style of drop-in bobbin. I'm not sure exactly what size they are, but they are, I don't know, I'd have to check and see what those are, but they're not a regular 15 or 66 or anything. But the reason we're taking a look at this is that this is another machine with a ton of early plastic that is crumbling right now because of its age. And not a lot of it is available, so this machine I had to do a lot of super glue to shore up the crumbling plastic and hopefully get a little more life out of it. So an outline of those bits of plastic that I've had to try and shore up. The bobbin winder is a plastic bobbin winder. There was a crack in it. Also, the oiling location for it is inside, and this panel is not is very sleek, but just 3 screws to remove that. So we'll have to oil that when we get it back together. And the reason this machine came in the first place is it had tension issues, which, you know, tension issues can be caused by any number of things. But the tension issue that this machine had was this take-up spring. This is the take-up spring for the tensioner. This is the end cover of the machine, so on the back side is where your tensioner is. Threads over the tensioner and then comes around and is supposed to go under this spring here. This bracket has a set screw in it and is plastic, and that was all cracked. So I had to glue this bracket back together, set the spring in the right location, and so that should last for a bit now. And then with the end cover off, there's a plastic gear on the top here that drives the cam stack. The cam stack is plastic pressed onto a metal drive hub, and the selector is plastic. And this selector is cracked in a few places, so I put a little glue in each crack to hopefully help hold it together for a bit. And there doesn't appear to be a crack in the cam stack yet, so didn't worry about that. But importantly, this piece here had to get reinforced. So the stitch selector on this is kind of neat. There's a set screw that goes on the groove of the shaft for turning it, and that does have to come off in order for this end cover to be removed. So let me grab a dab of oil for this winder, and then we'll pop that cover back on. I'm going to pop this cover back on here. Make sure that you shift the bobbin winder out so it goes in nicely. There are 3 screws holding this cover on. This screw doesn't have a hole, it's just a tab. It is also longer than the other 2 screws, which are on the bottom. These screws are about a 1/4 inch shorter, and they go in the bottom of the cover here, which I see is just off camera. Oops. Those 2 screws. Yeah. And then once these 3 screws are in, pop the knob on the stitch selector. So the Necchi has such a unique shape because it has the parts pushed in from either end of the main casting, which makes it actually kind of hard to work on. But this knob has a key for this pin, and the set screw goes in a groove, so it's actually quite easy to turn it to a location with the set screw facing the back, so I can stick my little screwdriver in here and that set screw is tightened, and then this piece with the spring has a cover. This cover also has a tab in it, and you'll notice it's kind of oval shaped, so this cover needs to go on and be oriented. Where does this tab? The tab matches this spot where the spring rests. Yeah. And it's got a screw that goes in to hold this cover on. Oh. Guess I was wrong. Yesterday the neighbor was running running chainsaws, so I assumed that the noise I heard was a chainsaw, but it's definitely power washer noises out in the alley today. I'm just rotating this cover until it is matched up with the base around the edge there. So, and then this lid has 2 screws. But that is the short list of plastic parts that I found that were damaged. And this machine, like I said, had tension issues, and that's because this take-up spring for the tensioner, in my other tensioner video I talked about how every tensioner has the same set of pieces. This one, the tension discs are on the back, and Elna has their tension discs down below, and then you have to put your thread through a take-up spring to help pull the loop up from down below when you're making your stitch. And if that take-up spring between the tension discs and the take-up arm isn't functioning properly, you will have all kinds of terrible stitch problems no matter what your tension does. So if you're having weird stitch issues, it's always important to make sure that whether it's in a thing like this or most modern machines, it's under the lower finger when you loop your thread underneath there. Make sure that's functioning properly.